Hey, this is Michael Lindsay from Vital MX, and this is our 2022 450 roundtable for our shootout. We're going to break these videos up. If you're watching this intro, this might be for the Honda, the Kawi, the Suzuki, the Yamaha, etc. But we have one on each bike because, man, they would be too long to sit down and play through at once. So whatever bike one you're about to watch, check it out. And if you want, check out the others as well to learn everything from this year's shootout. So our fifth place bike, Kawasaki KX450, I think this one was a little bit of at least for me, is an odd one. I've always rated this bike really well. Back to weight affecting my shootout. They have not changed this bike since 19 outside of real minor motor stuff. The clutch is going to like a bevel spring clutch, or similar to a bevel spring clutch. I shouldn't call it that. It's not exactly that. They've never changed the fork setting since 19 on this bike, and it's still the point of contention. When I was lighter, I could get away with it, but now being on this end of the scale, I couldn't get the fork good either day. I got the bike better, but I was never super. It's weird because I've ridden Kawi's a lot, so there's a natural confidence when I jump on one. But then I would do something and it would bite me when I'd blow through the stroke, and then I would instantly, confidence would go down. I was like, okay, can't do that again. Face hit handlebars. But yeah, the fork on it, it's weird to say it's the same spring rate as the Suzuki or the Honda. It's the same basic fork construction, but it's between the setting and low oil volume. It's just, to me, it's good on low speed chop, but anything high speed, anytime I want to push it, brake hard, be over the front end, throw it into something, it's just like, nope, bottomed. And to Band-Aid it, I'm more of a rear steer guy by nature, so I'd go low on the sag, 107, 108. Forks are already flush. I would just try to get the weight off it because the adjustments on it, I went a little bit stiffer or a little bit faster in rebound, and the fork action would get better, but comfort would go away. So I'm just like, the Band-Aid was get the weight off the front. I love the Kawi chassis, being a little bit more of a rear steer guy, but I feel like compared to old Kawis, it has a little more front grip than it used to. I love connection, feet, leg, everything. Ergonomics on it is great for me. I like they went to a little bit lower bar last year. I used to feel like it sat up a little too much. So I love all the ergonomics on the bike. I think the chassis, for me personally, is close to the Yamaha in track toughness, but the fork just takes it away. And then the motor, I like how well responsive the Kawi is initially on the standard coupler, just like a little bit of a crisp initial hit, but it's also a very mellow overall engine. I feel like there's a lot of, more than any other 450, I could go to basically max throttle position and it not bite me.
Yeah, me being a big Kawi guy, rode for Babbitt's and Team Green for a long time, 15, 16, a bunch of years. So I was excited to get on the Kawi. It's been 3 years since I've been on a green bike, so I was looking for that initial comfort. Set the sag at 105, went out and, the fork really stood out to me just with how soft it was. So always was trying to open up high speed on the shock to get the shock to sit a little bit lower, but I'm not going to harp on the forks too much. They are overall pretty soft, but I want to go on the other great aspects of the motorcycle, which is, on a left or a right kind of flat corner and you're weighted on that outside peg, the comfort that I could just roll the throttle on and that thing was going to glue and be stuck to the ground was incredible. I couldn't believe it. Like at Glen Helen, it's kind of that sandy feeling dirt, right? And it's always loose and you never feel like you have a lot of grip underneath you. But with the green bike, you could really roll the throttle on right at the apex of the corner and just right around the exit, just really open it up. And the bike never seemed to want to pitch you off or slide left or right. So the stability of the motorcycle was incredible. The power was good. I would have liked to seen, I only tried one of the couplers, so that was my fault, but I would have liked to seen a little bit more over rev for me because I was higher in the RPMs. But the overall feel of the motorcycle was good. The shock, like I said, was when I did open up the high-speed compression, I like the shock. If I take away the forks and just don't worry about the forks and only take into consideration the shock is great. Great hold up. Didn't feel too soft overall. Really was connected to the ground. Didn't go side to side as I came in the corner, so I was really happy with the bike.
I actually put the Kawi second because of the track toughness. It wasn't as good as the Yamaha, but I felt it was easier to dial in. Forks obviously being a little on the soft side, but it was easier to get, especially at those two tracks, comfortable more than the KTM or the Honda. So I actually put it higher than I've ever put it, I think, second.
Yeah. I was really tight between in the KTM third to fourth. I ended up putting the Kawi fourth, and I had to really fight personal feeling and emotion and go off the moment. I will say right now, though, like back to the weight thing, like honestly, if I'm either the fork is a little bit stiffer or I'm 30 pounds lighter, the bike is finishing 1 to 2 positions better for me. It really, my drawback was there because, like I said, I truly believe the chassis on it is the closest to Yamaha for general comfort, the ability for it to soak up, like you said, under lean angle. It's so rewarding in so many places. And that's something that I, like I said, really value on this motorcycle. I think is probably its best characteristic.
And me being at this weight is probably one of the lowest I've been. It's still, the Cowie is very low for me. So, I mean, I ranked it 6th. The Cowie, and the main thing there was the fork. I mean, I don't want to beat a dead horse. It's just trying to find predictability and confidence on the motorcycle. And what was kind of weird and a little bit confusing with the Cowie was when in a corner, it was like weird that my confidence went way up. Like leaning over, I felt like I knew exactly where I was going to go, either inside or outside or whatever. But it was coming into the corner that I was struggling with. And I think, again, it's the fork that it started bounce around and jittery and like, while the other bikes kind of help for me be a little bit more stable into the corner, I felt like, oh shit, what's going to happen? And then as soon as I turned over, I was like, oh, there we go. We're good. And then out, I was just like high speed. I'm like, oh shit, what's going to happen? You know, so it's like that's where I was really struggling with it. And we did get it working a little better at the sand track, but the ergos are a little weird for me just because like I feel like it's a little bit of a stink bug bike just sitting on it because they want the sag at like either 105 or higher. But I think that's why it helps me turn.
It's like I said, it's a huge thing is in the Honda. We're so close this year and shows the bikes above it have more of that rounded character where the Honda and the Cowie, you listen to us talk to it. We have points about them. They're insanely positive things that I would say each bike does something better than anything in the field, but it has its drawbacks. Once again, the point of the Shootout is to evaluate them off the showroom floor, but anybody listening that likes the characteristic we're talking about on either of those 2 bikes, you heard the negative. If it sounds like something you can go fix, your suspension, you got somebody you trust you want to work with, or a little bit of power, however that is, it might still be the bike for you again. No, thank you guys all for tuning in and listening to this. Like I said, that's why we do all this. There's a lot of information on each bike here. You can break it down, listen to the bike you're interested in, maybe even ones that you've been on the fence about, go through everything we said. Like I said, we put these out in multiple formats. If you're here, you've probably watched the short and sweet version we already did that was a lot quicker than this. And then if you want to learn more, me and Sean have talked about a lot about horsepower, weights, a lot of those figures. We have an article up on the website you can check out. Should be a link in the bio below. If you're the old school guy and you just want to read all this and not listen to us talk forever on YouTube, that route also works as well. But we'll be kicking off 250 Shootout here in a couple weeks, so stay tuned for more. And thanks for listening.